Hello and welcome to BW London podcast. So today I'm going to be talking about black women losing our black men and also the issues with weight. As you know, these are two topics very strong by Kevin Samuels, and I have definitely been influenced, I'd say, in a very positive way. I do have several criticisms, but I have too much respect for how it's benefited me to get into that. And it's not what it's important or what today's about. So, with that said, it's funny because in the 90s, I was a teenager in the 90s. I'm 39 now, I'm an 80s baby. So, in the 90s, I do remember getting quite, I remember young black boys being quite aggressive, but I knew that they were aggressive because they must have expressed it, or maybe male friends, I can't remember, but I knew that they were getting aggressive because they were getting really tired of approaching us and how we would respond. The overstushness, the wanting to impress one another with how much you can blast someone, especially if you don't fancy them, like it got out of hand. And I definitely participated, but I also gained self awareness pretty quickly. And it was funny, I actually remember now the incident that made me gain this self awareness. It was a carnival that I was at, and a group of boys were calling out at me. And I was scared, but I was actually scared because I knew that the atmosphere at that time was that they were naturally going to assume I was being rude. I just knew that. And I remember they were too far away to see any kind of pleasantries in my face or anything, but they didn't understand that because there was like eight or nine of them and they're calling me and that distance between us, I certainly weren't gonna go back. But I didn't want it to be an unpleasant exchange. But with that, like I said anyway, with that distance between us, they then decided to just start cursing and calling out. Don't remember what they said, but I remember that I understood it. I remember that. And I was living I was living with my boyfriend when I was 18, and my friend, we were on the bus one day, and did she also have a boyfriend? I think she might have also had a boyfriend. Yes, she would have done because of what happened. And there was a young black guy, young like we were, and he was on the bus and he wanted to talk to us. And I remember she was like, she wasn't going to be rude, but she was just going to, more or less tell him no. But because I was so sensitive about the topic, I said no. Let's just be nice, I basically said. And we said hi or whatever, but then he came and sat near us. And of course, you don't want to be too inviting, but like I said, I was sensitive to the issue. And he came and sat near us, and he actually, I don't remember if he said thank you or whatever, but I remember him expressing that he was so happy that we were just being pleasant. And I remember in the 90s thinking this could get really bad. It could get really bad. Now, I often have moments where I predict far things like this. Some of it, I couldn't see it coming the other way, but that's another story. But yeah, it has got really bad. And I don't know if other black women have noticed this too, but black men have a habit over the years, especially as I've got older, where they almost feel excited to flaunt their white woman, or they feel excited to show that they're not looking at you or walking past you. And that's become a real thing here in London anyway. And it just makes me sad. It makes me sad because with self awareness, I lost that attitude a long time ago, you know. But yeah, so that's that on that for now, as far as my thoughts are going so far. But in terms of the weight thing, Kevin Samuels, even with the whole rating of women and so on, it's given me so much peace because there's some stuff that I already knew that I knew, but I'm so busy being Mama Africa and African Queen and everybody's beautiful. It's given me so much peace because it's the truth. And yeah, weight's always been a problem for me, but let's talk about it. So I've never been more than 4 stones overweight, which is a lot. I'll probably put on screen the time so I know some people talk in pounds and I can't help the kilogram crew. But anyway, so I've only ever been 4 stones overweight. I for the many years I never ever went past 10 stones. I probably stayed my longest at 9 stones, and I looked my very best when I was 8.5 stones. I'm 5'4". I'm not 5'4". I'm 5'3", but I'm like 5'3 and a half, maybe. I'm not quite 5'4", and I'm not even going to do dress sizes, but because you can work out what the dress sizes are at these weight. Because when Kevin Samuels talks about that, that's 100% accurate. More time for the majority of body types. Like I get it. As somebody who's fluctuated between these weights, I really get it. But let's talk about how this works in the black community. And I know this might not be for everybody, but this is what I've had to go through. When I'm at my slimmest, it was all very contradictory for me and very confusing because when I was at my slimmest, that's when I get the most attention from men across the board. But then you constantly have your black girlfriends talking about, oh, where's your bum gone? You don't look thick and blah blah blah. So I'm thinking I'm not sexy, and it was all really confusing. So I've always not really understood what weight I should be and maintain, but I do know what weight gets me the most attention. It's very strange. But I've had that battle, and like I said, Kevin Samuels gives peace in that regard. Um, and just like he says, these caricature bodies that we're creating are not, what men will marry. So ultimately, I don't think I need to reinforce that message, but I just really just wanted to say that it's been a long time coming, black men's attitude and turning this way, and it was one cause of it, because obviously there's variables and many other things, but one cause of it was definitely our attitudes. I watched it happen in the 90s, and I watched it change, and I watched black men turn funny towards us. And I had black guy friends in the work that I do, and they'll speak really honestly. And I remember less than 5 years ago when two black guys sat down and said, why are white girls like so much cuter and slimmer, and it's so hard to see a black girl that looks good? Do you remember when we used to have our own style, and they're talking like Monica and um, Brandy and those kind of days, just when we identified in our own unique style, when we wore our hair short and we toned it in little bits, and if we had fake hair, it was just like one strand of it, and it was just to full out our hair, and it just we and the nails weren't there, and we had our own image, and people followed us. But now we follow them. We all do the Kardashian look, don't we? Everyone's on this contour nose and all of this weird look. It's it's been a long time coming, but this as well, this is one of those things where I always wonder what's going to be the outcome, and of the negativity of how I knew black men were feeling, and that, and to see that this is where it ended up is just, it's really sad. But you know, we push forward. We push forward. Thanks for listening.